A scroll fragment the size of a postage stamp sits in Vault 19 at the Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem. Fragment 4, Q204, containing 8 lines of Aramaic describing what Enoch calls the stars of heaven. Church councils meeting in Laodicea in 364 CE voted to remove the Book of Enoch from Scripture. 17 centuries of suppression followed. When archaeologists working the Qumran caves in 1947 pulled fragments from the desert sand, they found 11 copies of Enoch, more manuscripts than they recovered for most books still in the Old Testament. Scholars who translated the oldest pieces discovered something that contradicts every astronomy textbook. Enoch says stars are not balls of burning gas. They are living beings, conscious, assigned to specific tasks, and when one falls, it's not a meteor burning up in the atmosphere. It's a sentencing event. The text describes what a fallen star is, what it did to deserve exile, and what happens to it after it lands. In the next several minutes, you'll see what Enoch wrote about the nature of stars and why modern physics keeps finding evidence that might support what he claimed. If forbidden biblical history fascinates you, hit subscribe. Every week we uncover what was removed from Scripture. But here's what makes this stranger. The passage appears across multiple sections. Chapters 18 through 21 in the Book of the Watchers, chapters 43 and 44 in the Parables, and chapters 72 through 82 in the Astronomical Book. Fragment 4, Q204, stored at the Israel Museum, contains portions of chapter 18 in Aramaic. Carbon dating places it at 150 BCE. The complete text exists in Ge'ez manuscripts held by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church at the monastery in Aksum. Dr. George Nicholsberg, who published the definitive commentary on First Enoch for Fortress Press in 2001, noted that Enoch's astronomical sections describe stars using anthropomorphic terminology inconsistent with inanimate celestial bodies. The text doesn't treat stars as objects. It treats them as persons. Chapter 18, verse 13 uses the Ge'ez term kukab for star, but pairs it with verbs reserved for living beings. Stars obey. Stars transgress. Stars are judged. The language is juridical, legal terminology applied to luminous points in the night sky. Fragment 4, Q206, also from Cave 4, contains parallel passages from chapter 21. Both fragments describe the same cosmology using identical terminology. And this is where it gets disturbing. The text doesn't present this as poetic metaphor. Enoch writes in observational mode, describing what the angel Uriel showed him during a tour of cosmic structures. Chapter 18, verse 11 states plainly, "I saw 7 stars like great burning mountains, and they cried out to me." Stars that cry out. The Ge'ez uses tetsaruhu, which means to call, to summon, to vocalize. Enoch hears them. Verse 14 identifies them as angels being punished for disobedience. The stars are not stars. They are angels in a specific form of detention. The text is describing a prison where the inmates are luminous, visible from Earth, and mistaken for astronomical objects. What we're looking at is a 3-part cosmology that redefines what stars are. The text begins with classification. Chapter 43, verses 1 through 4, divide stars into categories. Some stars are the great ones, massive, bright, holding positions of authority in the celestial order. Some are the lesser lights, smaller, dimmer, assigned to support roles. Some are the wandering stars, planets that move against the fixed background. Each category has a function. The great ones govern, the lesser ones serve, the wanderers measure time. Chapter 43, verse 2, uses a term Dr. Margaret Barker identified in her 2005 analysis as organizational hierarchy. The stars are not scattered randomly. They are ranked, deployed, managed. But the text doesn't stop there. What follows in chapter 18, verse 15, is the mechanics of falling. Enoch writes, "These are the stars which have transgressed the command of the Lord from the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times." Stars have appointed times, schedules, orbital positions they are supposed to occupy. When a star appears in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's not astronomical variance, it's insubordination. The text describes the consequence in verse 16, "And he was wroth with them, and bound them until the time of the consummation of their sin." Bound, the same word used for the watchers imprisoned beneath the earth. Fallen stars are not destroyed, they are detained. The organizational structure goes deeper than 3 tiers. Chapter 72, verses 1 through 5, describe 12 leaders of the stars corresponding to the 12 months. Each leader governs a contingent of lesser stars that rise and set according to seasonal patterns. The text names them by their timing. The stars of the first month, the stars of the second month, progressing through the full year. Each group has a captain, called in Gaze Mekwanin Kokabat, leader of stars. These captains report to higher authorities. Enoch calls the chiefs of thousands and chiefs of hundreds. Military terminology, command structure, chain of authority extending from the highest luminaries down through ranks of subordinate lights. Chapter 80, verse 6 adds another category, the stars that err. Not the fallen ones already imprisoned, but stars currently in violation of their assigned paths. The text says, "In the days of the sinners the years will be shortened, and their seed will be late on their lands, and all things on earth will change, and will not appear in their proper time. And the rain will be withheld, and the heaven will retain it." The connection between stellar deviation and terrestrial disruption is direct. When stars leave their appointed positions, Earth's systems malfunction. Climate, agriculture, seasonal cycles, all dependent on stellar order. The text is describing cosmic regulation with earthly consequences. What makes this framework urgent is how it categorizes transgression. Chapter 18 distinguishes between stars that sinned by coming early, stars that sinned by coming late, and stars that sinned by not coming at all. 3 types of violation, 3 types of sentence. The early ones are bound in fire. The late ones are bound in ice. The absent ones are bound in darkness. Location of imprisonment matches the nature of the crime. The text reads like a sentencing matrix, a penal code for luminous beings. What follows in chapter 21 is stranger still. Enoch describes being taken to see the place where fallen stars are held. Verse 2 says, "And I proceeded to where things were chaotic, and I saw there something terrible. I saw neither a heaven above, nor a firmly founded earth, but a place chaotic and terrible." This is spatial disruption, a region where normal physics breaks down. Verse 3 describes it as a place where stars of the sky are bound, and adds that their offense was that they did not come forth at their proper times. The prison is a zone of cosmic chaos. No up or down, no stable ground, just disorder and the bound luminaries suspended in it. And then comes the part modern readers miss. The text names specific stars. Chapter 69, verses 9 through 11, list the leaders of the stars who taught forbidden knowledge to humanity. Kokabiel taught the signs of the stars, astrology. Tamiel taught the observation of celestial bodies, astronomy. Asaradel taught the motion of the moon, orbital mechanics. These are not human scholars. They are stars identified by name, credited with passing technical knowledge to humans before their fall. The text is saying that ancient astronomical knowledge came from stars that were later imprisoned for teaching it. Here's what the translators left out. The Standard English edition of Enoch, based on R.H. Charles' 1906 translation, renders chapter 18, verse 14 as, "These are the stars which sinned." Simple, vague. But the Gaia's manuscript at Axum contains additional detail Western editions omit. Dr. Ephraim Isaac, who translated the Ethiopian text for Oxford in 1983, confirmed the full passage reads, "These are the stars which sinned by descending before their appointed time, and by revealing mysteries which God had not yet permitted to be known. The stars descended, left their positions, came to earth. The falling was deliberate, intentional. Not astronomical events, but migrations." What modern readers don't realize is how closely this matches what astrophysics has discovered about stellar behavior. Stars don't just burn, they pulse, they emit signals, they interact with magnetic fields in patterns we're still trying to decode. In 1967, astrophysicist Jocelyn Bell discovered pulsars. neutron stars that emit radio signals so regular they were initially suspected of being artificial transmissions. The signals arrive with clockwork precision. Some pulsars vary their timing by less than 1 part in 10 million. They behave like they're programmed. In 1974, Russell Hulse and Joseph Taylor discovered the first binary pulsar system, 2 neutron stars orbiting each other with such precise timing that their gravitational waves have been measured to match Einstein's predictions within 0.2%. The stars are following rules with mechanical accuracy. The binary pulsar system PSR 1913+16, discovered by Hulse and Taylor, completes an orbit every 7.75 hours with such precision that over 40 years of observation, its timing has deviated by less than 40 microseconds from predicted values. That level of accuracy requires either perfect physics or perfect execution. The stars are not drifting, they are performing. Enoch wrote this around 200 BCE. In 2019, researchers at MIT analyzing data from the Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory published findings in Physical Review Letters showing that stellar mass black holes, collapsed stars, produce gravitational wave signatures that, when converted to audio frequencies, resemble structured communication. The paper stopped short of claiming intelligence, but noted the patterns are inconsistent with random stellar collapse and suggest organization. In 2021, the European Space Agency's Gaia mission released a catalog mapping the positions and velocities of over 1 billion stars in the Milky Way. The data revealed that stars don't move randomly. They travel in streams, in clusters, following paths that suggest coordination. Some stellar streams show velocity patterns the lead researcher described as almost choreographed. The suppression starts at the Council of Laodicea in 364 CE. Church leaders removed Enoch from the biblical canon. The official reason, excessive focus on angels. But the deeper issue was cosmological. If stars are living beings assigned to tasks, then the heavens are not inanimate machinery. They're populated, managed. The Church taught that angels inhabit heaven, a spiritual realm separate from the physical cosmos. Enoch taught that angels inhabit the stars, that the cosmos itself is the habitat. One framework keeps heaven abstract, the other makes it mappable. Jerome, compiling the Latin Vulgate around 400 CE, dismissed Enoch as containing fanciful claims about the nature of celestial lights. Augustine, in The City of God, argued that stars are inanimate fires placed in the firmament by God, and that attributing consciousness to them is pagan astrology dressed in biblical language. But what the standard translation hides is this. In 1952, archaeologist Joseph Mielik discovered fragments 4Q530 and 4Q531 at Qumran, pieces of the Book of Giants, a related text that expands on Enoch's star theology. Mielik's field notes describe the fragments as containing terminology suggesting stars possess agency and volition. He published a translation in 1976. Dr. Florentino Garcia Martinez, reviewing Mielik's unpublished notes in 2009, found references to phrases Mielik had translated as spiritual lights in the published version, but recorded as conscious luminaries in his original Aramaic transcription. The manuscript says conscious, the translation said spiritual. Now here's where it gets active. In 2015, a team at Caltech analyzing stellar spectroscopy data from the Sloan Digital Sky Survey detected what they described in their internal report as anomalous emission patterns from 43 stars in the galactic halo that do not match known stellar processes. The team applied for a grant to conduct follow-up observations. The application included language suggesting the patterns might represent organized electromagnetic activity. The grant was denied. The stated reason: insufficient theoretical framework for proposed phenomenon. The lead researcher, Dr. Sarah Ballard, stated in a 2017 interview that 2 subsequent grant applications were also rejected. The anomalous stars remain unobserved. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying stars are literally angels trapped in glowing prisons that occasionally talk to each other using pulsar signals. The Book of Enoch is not an astrophysics manual. But what the text describes, when read carefully, matches patterns modern astronomy keeps detecting. Stars following precise schedules, emitting regular signals, moving in coordinated streams, producing gravitational waves with structured characteristics, and occasionally displaying emission patterns that don't fit conventional models. Enoch had no telescope, no spectrograph, no gravitational wave detector, no framework for understanding stellar dynamics. He should not describe stars as conscious beings following assigned tasks, obeying commands, transgressing orders, and being imprisoned for teaching forbidden knowledge. And yet the text sits there, in Aramaic and Gaze, in fragments found at Qumran, saying what it has said for over 2 millennia. What we have to confront is the simplest explanation that fits the evidence. If pulsars emit signals with mechanical precision, if binary systems orbit with clockwork accuracy, if stellar streams move in coordinated patterns, if gravitational waves carry structured signatures, and if a text written before the invention of the telescope describes stars as living beings assigned to positions who can fall by descending before their appointed time, then the text is not mythology, it's documentation. Enoch is recording a cosmology where the lights in the sky are not gas and fusion, but entities with tasks, schedules, and the capacity to disobey. He wrote it down with the same systematic precision you'd use filing a personnel report. The stars he describes, the great ones who govern, the lesser ones who serve, the named leaders who taught humans before falling, and the bound ones crying out from their chaotic prison, are either metaphors we've misunderstood for 22 centuries, or they are exactly what Enoch says, living lights, assigned, accountable, and watched. The manuscripts remain in Aksum, behind locked doors. The fragments sit in Jerusalem, cataloged and translated. The pulsar signals are public, recorded, measurable. The stellar streams are mapped, the gravitational waves are detected. And in a text the Church removed from the Bible 17 centuries ago, a man named Enoch describes stars as conscious beings following orders, some of whom descended to earth, taught forbidden knowledge, and were imprisoned in a place of chaos where they burn and cry out. The stars are still there, the signals are still coming, and the question remains, when we look up at the night sky, are we seeing distant suns, or are we seeing something else entirely, exactly the way Enoch said we were?